Can you name that song? Frank? Maybe? Yes? No?
Not really.
Come on. Remember the song, You Spin Me Round? You spin me right around, baby, right around.
That was it?
That's a different version of it. That's the cool version of it.
Says you.
Says me. I say a lot. And this person says a lot. I'm very honored to be sharing the airwaves with the man known as the social media whore. Rob Dimension, welcome to Totally Driven Radio.
Hey, guys, what's up?
That is the best name, especially with the hashtag. It adds so much to it.
Well, you know, it's weird. You kind of like, some people are famous for nothing. I kind of wanted to join that same group. I figured I could be like the lower level Kim Kardashian.
Now, if you can somehow get like just a piece of the money she makes, then you would definitely be complete.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. Instead, you know, I drive around an old car. You know, I'm living the indie life.
Oh, that's horrible. I feel bad for you.
Yeah, man. Rough. So
I
what's up, guys?
I love that your car was in the movie.
It was. And I can tell you a story about how the door didn't open. The left side of the door actually didn't open. And I was taking my daughter out for driving lessons, and I said, pull in for gas. She pulled in for gas, and she didn't apply the brake, and she ran into, like, one of the cement poles. I was like, so I was flipping out. And when the movie idea came about, I said, you know what, I'm going to add that into the movie and not be able, because I legitimately couldn't open the door, and hopping across the passenger side seat was how I got in and out of my car for like a year.
Oh, that's funny. Because when I was watching it, when I saw that part, I said to myself, I wonder if he's going to climb through with the clown shoes on.
I did. And so what did you think of the movie?
I'll tell you what, I loved it. I mean, I told you this before when I saw the previews. You think this, somebody's going to do a movie. You say to yourself, all right, your friend's going to do a movie. Somebody you know they're going to do a movie, and you're like, especially when they've never done something like that before. Yeah. And then I saw the trailer, and I was like, wow, I'm really impressed. Like, this looks good. And then me and my wife sat and watched it the other night, and I was like, he really pulled this off. He did a good job. I was like, I'm impressed. I couldn't believe it. You should be proud of yourself.
I'm very proud. I was fortunate. I had done a couple other short films. I had done a couple TV shows. And years ago, I had become friends with a guy named Matthew Bird. He worked at WXW when I was there. And he had done a couple short films, and he had asked me a couple times to be involved with his short films. And then we did Late Night at the Horror Hotel, which was like, a TV show that we did that was a horror hosting show that was on, half the country. We were fortunate for that. And he directed that. So when this idea came about, I asked him to be involved, and he did all the cinematography. He did the editing. He helped. He wrote the screenplay. I sent him 16 pages of notes, and I said, look, this is kind of like what I want. So he came back and wrote the screenplay, and it was perfect. Like, I could visualize everything that we had talked about. We both co-directed the film, but there's a lot of times when he really steered the ship. It's so hard to do when you're in front of the camera, and when you are shooting an independent film like that, there's nobody involved. I mean, literally, there's 4 people that are shooting. You have a camera guy, one guy holding a boom mic, another guy helping with lights and doing, helping out with other stuff. You had me, Matt, myself. You had Kim involved, my wife, and a few other people. We had Steve Carino involved that played Lenny, the bad guy. We had Sal Valenti, who was Big Sal in ECW.
Right.
He plays a character in the film. This was like a very, very small shoot. So in order to do that, I mean, it's very time-consuming. We shot it in 4 days. We worked 15 hours a day, and by the time we were done, I was ecstatic. I couldn't believe how it came about. Matt edited the film himself. We were fortunate enough to get some great musicians involved. The soundtrack is really good. I couldn't ask for anything else. I mean, it was just perfect.
Now, first off, let's mention the name of the movie. It's called No Clowning Around. You can get this off of Rob's website. You can get it off the No Clowning Around website.
Right, nocloudingaround.com, or you can go to robdimension.com and click the link. You can follow me on Twitter at robdimension. Just getting my plugs in.
Whore yourself out. Go ahead, Rob. Feel free.
I'm plugging away.
All right, so this was not your first time in front of the camera. That was one thing I wanted to ask you.
No, it wasn't. I did the Chainsaw Sally show, which is a very popular web series, last summer. I had done 2 other shorts with Matt. We had done Late Night at the Horror Hotel, which was a TV series which I co-wrote and Matt directed. I mean, I've been, by making the transition from wrestling to acting, there's not really much. You still have to let go of your. This was the first time. I mean, I'll be totally honest, where I actually, I guess, kind of let go of my inhibitions and was more open to be that character instead of just kind of, I don't want to say mailing it in, but instead of hamming it up or being like the silly character, there's not really a lot to laugh about in this movie. So it gave me a chance to kind of have a little bit of range, and I was happy with it.
And that was another thing that we had talked about earlier, and that we did in the interview we did for the website. Originally, I had said to you, I said, is this like a horror movie? And in reality, it's not like your slasher flick. It's nothing like that.
No.
It's almost like a drama where it's really about a person that suffers from a deep depression.
Yeah, and to be totally honest with you, I'll give you a little bit of insight. For I, as well as many other professional, people that are involved with professional wrestling, I had a bad bout with depression, and my family life was awful. I was about to lose my marriage. So the movie is full of metaphors. Being that I'm supposed to be the happy guy, but on the on the inside I'm a complete mess. And the Lenny character is really all of the other things that are kind of putting pressure on me as a person. And Mr. Peepers is one of the stars. I don't want to say too much about who he is, but he is the inner persona for myself, where my conscience. So that to me was a very freeing experience. We actually finished filming on the last day. The last day of filming was my 42nd birthday, and I tell you what, man, I don't think you can ever beat depression, but I definitely feel like I took my life back.
That's good. And as I said, I suffer from depression myself, and that's huge right there. That is huge to feel like you're taking your life back. It's the first step in beating it, I would imagine.
It is, and I mean, I struggle all the time. I don't know why professional wrestling has a lot to do with it, but it does. I mean, it's a real part of life. Whether it's that you enjoy, your whole week builds up to that 15 minutes of working in front of a crowd, and then the rest of the week you're miserable. I really don't know, but this just gave me a creative outlet to express myself a little bit more, and I mean. The reviews have been all very positive. I'm happy with that. We just started submitting to film festivals. It's showing next week in New York at the Macabre Fair Film Festival. It's going to be, as far as I know, I'm one of the only independents to ever screen at Monster Mania. It'll be screening at Monster Mania. Monster Mania is the 8th through the 10th of March. And that's going to be a huge event. They just announced Carrie Fisher is going to be there. So I believe our film is going to be screening on Saturday, but it hasn't been written up yet as far as the time or schedule goes. So already, I mean, there's an opportunity just between Monster Mania for, you figure attendance at Monster Mania is going to probably be like 35,000 people with Carrie Fisher there. So I already have, a huge potential there.
Yeah, if people have never been to a Monster Mania convention, they are incredible. They really are. I mean, me and my wife go to them all the time. We always see you and your wife there.
Yeah.
They are just a good time. And the opportunity to meet so many stars that you've looked up to for many years, I mean, you can't beat it. And as a matter of fact, our guest last week, Blue Meanie, him and his girlfriend Tracy are always there as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know who you're going to run into at a Monster Mania convention.
I was fortunate where the promoter actually came to a wrestling show. I had done Monster Mania as a vendor for years. and the promoter came to the event, to a wrestling event, and he saw, Steve and myself work, and he was like, "Oh my God, you guys were hilarious," and instantly for Dave, the promoter, and myself, we became friends, and then he started having me host some of the Q&As. I had hosted, Q&As at Monster Mania in Baltimore a lot. He usually has me do the entire day, which I couldn't ask for anything more. It's incredible. To be able to speak to someone who was an influence for myself, like John Carpenter, for an hour in front of, a live audience and share the stage with him and get to be able to ask my questions myself, it's overwhelming to be able to have that opportunity. And then when he decided he wanted to start a podcast, he contacted me and was like, "Hey, I'd like to be able to do, this radio thing. Are you interested?" And I was like, "Absolutely." So Extreme Odd Couple was kind of ending. We had done 50 episodes of that, and we had kind of said, at 50 we're going to probably be done. And Steve had moved to North Carolina, South Carolina, and it just kind of came about to where this was another chapter, for me to get more into the horror genre than I already am. I've been such a fan for years that this gave me a chance to actually have even more of a voice. And plus, it's fun. We talked about the convention. We talked about upcoming news. We talked about movies we just saw. The other night we recorded a podcast, went and saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, and came back and recorded a review for it. So it's a great opportunity. It's a great time. Plus, Dave became a really good friend of mine.
That's awesome.
Hey, Rob. Well, congratulations on, it's one thing to have a dream, but then it's another thing to follow it through and do what you did.
Thank you.
I'll tell you,